got all of our financing elements in order, so now we just need to buy it, you know, and then tenants. And what I would like to do is tenants to homeowners will do a memorandum of understanding that we're buying this and this is the way the project will go, and it will be for Brad, as you know, because he has his financing right now, as long as nothing changes there. You know, we do have to be careful if something changes, you know, but we have plenty of people that would need a project like that, so I'm not worried about.
So even if.
But at some point, certain customizing is always you know. But you're ready to go, so I don't expect any. It would be something unexpected.
And anything that you do for him would surely be good for somebody
else.
Absolutely.
Down the road. But making it, I mean, very few things that we would do to make it more accessible would not be helpful. You know, there's a few little things that bathrooms people just use a little differently sometimes. But yeah, I think any of that stuff, and that's why it makes sense to have him in the process at this point, so we really can make it work for him
at this point. He plans on being there for a while.
Absolutely. So, you know, we will be in control of the rehab, but again, I work, you know, one-on-one with Brad, and I usually, the other houses I've done like this, where we've done some customizing for accessibility, I usually have the person come in at different stages in the process just to make sure it's working, you know, because in theory something could look good on paper and then we go in there and it doesn't, you know, you forget, oh, this door is in the way, or, you know, we try and think about all that stuff at first. But
I think we've done a pretty good job up to this point. And
I'm Brad provided me a great list of things to think about, and we've done 14 houses fully accessible, built from scratch, and 5 of them were customized significantly for the owners. One of them for a house with 3 members in wheelchairs. That was a real challenge, and where I kind of learned like all of the little things that you really have to think of for that family. Everything was customized. So we do have some, just because that helps, you know, to have done it a few times and kind of have that sense of, oh, we need to think about the height on here, or the, you know.
Because maybe some of those things he
doesn't even think. So I'm hoping some of it we can bring some ideas too that maybe, oh, that would be a good way to make it usable.
Yeah. Trying to use up every inch that we can, everything, especially, I'm thinking mainly trying to make sure that everything is accessible when it comes to storage. I know there's a couple places that I may not be able to reach, but that's what other people are there for, to help me get stuff down.
Yeah, sometimes that storage for just every once in a while is still worth having. Huh?
Yeah, items rarely used.
Yeah.
That stuff. So that stuff is easy. You want to kind of well, you can point it out when you go over and show it. Man, what we're thinking about the bedroom access, getting out, putting in French doors right now.
You mean for an emergency second exit?
I need to have a second exit. Right now, there's only the front door, and so we need to develop a second.
Well, isn't there the sliding glass door?
They're both sliding glass in both bedrooms.
In both bedrooms, but but that particular door frame, we need to have more accessible.
Yeah.
Right.
So we got to figure out whether we're just gonna
the sliders
aren't
very accessible. I mean, we may be able to, you know, deal with thresholds, and there are products where you can kind of convert something in the meantime, but it makes sense in this kind of rehab to probably put in a new door,
because they've already said that they're going to replace the outside windows and all that stuff.
See, and that's just the question, I guess, again, we'll have to work with the condo unit, because they do care about, unlike private ownership, condo unit, they want it to all look similar.
Yes.
Now, we should be able to find options that will match, so I'm not too worried about that, but again, it might take a little more planning and thinking to make sure that they're okay with it and it works for Brad. So that'll be a good process to And I think in some ways it might teach them how to kind of think of those things as they're redoing
So the rest
of the units, because I think those units are very accessible for, I mean, as they redesign them, they could make them much more accessible. But the price range is, I'm thinking, yeah, we're kind of setting it up as we may want to do more of these, so you'll want to work with us.
Yes.
So we're excited about it. Any other question? I know, has Brad talked to you about housing trust ownership? The only difference really, and of course he'll be a condo owner, which is its whole own set of things. But once the condominium association is formed, he can participate in leadership on that, and certainly there'll be rules and documents on what you can or can't do to the exterior. And I would imagine any of those things you could, if something became a problem, you could talk to the committee on. But the other thing is housing trust ownership. So the property, because we're putting in, at least 20,000 in rehab, and then probably 15 to 20,000 in buy down subsidy to get his initial purchase price lower, we are then have a restriction on the units. Usually I own title to the land, but I give a 99-year ground lease. Well, in a condo unit, they don't own the land, so there isn't that legal mechanism to control. All we care about is controlling the lease. Yeah, we just don't want someone to be able to then sell it for market value and take all that subsidy out of the property.
You want to reuse
So the only reason, we want it to stay in the property and slow down the appreciation that is happening in Lawrence. And that's a good thing for Brad as he's there, because hopefully his taxes will be lower. That kind of weights it down.
You don't own the land.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
Like in an apartment.
right. So there's benefits there, because as you live there, you really don't want to pay top value for your property taxes.
Just when you move.
And just when you move, you want that top value. But again, we're going to control that resale formula. So there's a formula price, and basically what Brad gets if he ever chooses to move is 25% of the market appreciation based on, we're going to appraise it initially, a fee simple appraisal. So saying in Lawrence in 2009, this is what this condo unit is worth. And then if he's ready to move in 10 or 15 years, we're going to get another appraisal then. And let's say it is now $100,000 worth $100,000 more than it was. I'm just picking round numbers. 25,000 of that would be his, and we would add that to his initial purchase price, and that's the resale formula price. Now his initial purchase price, of course, he's put a down payment down, and he'll be paying off his mortgage. So two ways you earn equity, right? Paying off your mortgage, and then the house appreciates in value. So we're limiting the appreciation part of the equity. If he makes extra payments and pays off more of his mortgage, that's 100% his.
Yes.
So it really just tries to control kind of that inflationary factor of housing that unfortunately is good for the owner at the time, but is not so good for affordable housing in the future of our community.